today's video is going to be doing something that I've wanted to do and kind of needed to do for a long time. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've got the Infiniti Q50. It's been in a couple of videos I've posted already, but the Infiniti Q50, we've had it for about a year. It's the VQ37 engine, so it's really great engine, great car. No complaints about the car. However, we bought it at around 70,000 miles. And right around there, I think, is when you're supposed to change out the rotors, the brake rotors. Bought the car, there wasn't really any issues. A couple months later, though, we did start hearing some squeaking in the brakes, but still, you know, they felt good. They stopped the car fine. And so I didn't really think much of it and kind of just dealt with the squeaks for a while. Just like a few days ago, I started feeling the brake like vibrating, or like it's very obvious that the brakes are at the point where they're not doing their job super well. And so yeah, today we are going to be changing out the brake rotors and the brake pads, and we'll also be addressing an issue that we've also seen in the car for a while. A little bit ago, we started getting a warning on the dash that's called the chassis control system error warning. It would also put on the parking brake light and the traction control light. And so all of the lights stay on. You start the car, they're on. And it's been kind of annoying. And so I didn't know what it was about. We took it to the dealership. They were going to charge us like $200 just to check it out. And we don't have that kind of money. So anyways, that brings it to what we're doing now. So we're heading over right now to pick up the rotors. I found a really good deal on some rotors and pads on OfferUp. I'm excited. It's kind of one of those things that got put off, and we're finally getting it done. So we'll get the stuff and then we'll head home, and I'll try to install it. I want to install it with daylight left, but we'll see if we can. It's the next day. We were not able to get the stuff installed yesterday just because it got too dark too quickly, and I didn't want to have to do this stuff in the dark. So we're gonna do it today. So yesterday I was telling you guys a little bit about the issues that I've been seeing with the Q50, and there are the lights that I was talking about. You can see the brake light, and then I think, is that the traction control? I'm pretty sure that's traction control. And then right here in the center display, there would be the chassis control system error light, which would come on. It hasn't come on just because I've only driven the car like a couple of feet to get it over here. But normally it would come on after driving for like 2 minutes. Those are the issues that I've noticed, and then besides that, there's just the squeaking and the brake shudder that I've been feeling recently. Let me show you something else that I noticed the other day. You can see right there on the caliper, right there. So you see the paint is all flaking off like that. That is from the brake fluid leaking out of right there, I'm assuming. And maybe that's why the lights are on. I mean, hopefully it's something as simple as that. So here we have it. Stoptech brake rotors, drilled and slotted. And then we also have these Duralast Elite ceramic brake pads. So the brake pads are brand new. Rotors are used, but they're very lightly used and in good condition. That's what the owner said. I'm going from the stock stuff, so stock to drilled and slotted rotors. So they're drilled like this to allow for more airflow to go through and cool the brakes better. And they're slotted to help clear out brake dust and such, so the rotors aren't as susceptible to brake fade. And the brake pads, I mean, Elite brake pads they sound pretty nice. But yeah, I'm excited to have these. Now before we do anything, first thing we've got to do is break loose all of the lug nuts on all the wheels. That way we don't put it in the air, realize we can't break them loose, and put it back down on the ground like I just did 10 seconds ago. So here we go. My mount is not working. I don't know why. There we go. Alright, now that all of the lug nuts are broken loose, we can raise the car and we can get the wheels off. Now it's time to get the wheels off. I wish I had an impact gun. This is what I was talking about. You can see it a lot better now. Yeah, dude. Oh man, this is worse than I thought. I don't know how this got open, but somehow this got open. Check your valves, guys. Never know. I was hoping to maybe paint these calipers one day, so it's not anything I'm too worried about, but we're not going to be able to do it today. We're kind of in a rush to get this done, so yeah, we'll get this done first. All right, so I think I'm just going to show you guys how to do it all on this first one. The first thing you're going to want to do is turn the rotor so that the caliper is facing towards you more. We'll be working right here. So we're going to get the old brake pads out. And so to do that, we first have to get these two pins. There's one pin, that long pin, and that one right there. So you got to get a little screwdriver or something to get the cotter pins out first. There we go. And the other one, wow, that one was way easier. Then you can work on getting these pins out. Just kind of need to pry right there. Start working its way out. There we go. Pushing through here, it works too. And they'll come right out. There we go. And then that will fall right out. And that exposes the brake pads, all right? So the next thing we gotta do is compress the pistons. 2 pistons there, 2 pistons in there. And so since I'm not gonna be reusing any of the pads or rotors, I'm just gonna kind of pry in there with a little flat head and compress the pistons. Oh, by the way, make sure before you do this, before you start compressing, well, let me just show you. Make sure you have the brake fluid reservoir cap open. Also, my hood struts are shot, so that's fun. Make sure you've got the brake fluid reservoir cap off. That way, when you're compressing the pistons, the brake fluid has somewhere to go. So yeah, start prying on these bad boys. Get this side. And once the pistons are compressed enough, you can just slide those out, and you'll see the pistons are flush with the caliper housing. Now we can get to removing the caliper itself, so that way we can take off the brake rotor. To get the caliper off, we've got 2 bolts. This one right here, and this one down here. And they are size 21. Sorry, they're 22. And for this, you should really use an impact if you have one. I do not, and so I am using this ginormous torque wrench because it's the only 1/2-inch drive thing that I've got. So having the right tools definitely would make this process go a lot quicker. Now once you get the bolts almost all the way out, keep them sitting right there just to hold the caliper in place. You are going to want to get this loose. If this is stuck here, the caliper can't really move that much out of the way, and it's just easier if this is out of the way. So there we go. Boom. Once the caliper is loose, you're gonna want to put it on something, or do what I'm gonna do and just zip tie it. Basically, you just want to have it so that it's not resting, all of the weight is not resting in the brake lines themselves. So we're gonna get 1 bolt out, 2 bolts out. There we go. And I found it easiest to just zip tie it right here. There we go. So now it's just chilling there, and the brake lines have no weight on them. So anyways, trying to get the rotor off itself can either be really hard or really easy, depending on if it is stuck or not. And mine is a little stuck. And if yours is stuck, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna get a lug nut, thread it on to about there so that there's a few threads showing. You're gonna wanna get a mallet and you just kinda whack the brake rotor. You can rotate it and then whack it a little here. And it might take a while before it comes loose, but it will hopefully eventually come loose. And once you get it loose, you can take this lug nut off, and then you can take the rotor off. There you go. Now we're ready to put on the new rotor. But before we put it on, I just want to give it a quick little cleanup. So I just take my brake clean and give it a good spray. Try not to breathe it in, and give her a good wipe down. And then you can wipe it down again. So we got our brake rotor on, got it all cleaned up. Now we're gonna get the caliper back on, brake pads in, and we'll be done. We're gonna cut the, zip tie to get it free. Wanna make sure that the brake line is in the, the general area that it needs to be in. So caliper's back on, still not tight, but it's back on. And look at that, that looks so good. So now you can get this clip back in. You can just stick her like that. Get a hammer, or in my case, a little flathead screwdriver handle, and just tap it back into place. There you go. Now we're gonna tighten these bolts. And you want to get them just tight enough so that the caliper doesn't move anymore. Once they're there, you can put the new brake pads inside. So we will grab those. Obviously, the pad part goes in towards the rotor, and it should just slide right in. And it should just slide right in. There we go. And then you're gonna want to make sure these holes are lined up with the holes that the pin is gonna go into. Let's get the other brake pad. The brake pad kit came with 2 new guide pins. Those will go in with a little guide pin bracket. So you'll set this on just how it was before. When you slide the new pins in, make sure the hole for the cotter pin is facing up, so that way it's easy to put the cotter pin back in. Once you get to this point, just double check, make sure the hole is up, and there we go. All right, so that one is in. And you want the straight part to go in the hole. Is that in all the way? There you go. And there you have it. And then you do the same thing with the other pin. There we go. Get your handy dandy cotter pin, and again, same thing, straight edge in the hole. There we go. Everything is in place. Nice. Now that we've got the front ones done, we can move on to the rear. Now, if I've learned anything doing this job, it's that having the right tools is so important. Like I said, the only 1/2-inch drive wrench that I have is that ginormous torque wrench, which won't fit in the rear. So I tried my best with the tools that I did have, but no matter how hard I tried, I was unable to get the bolts loose. All right, guys, to be completely honest with you, I cannot get this freaking rear caliper off. I've been trying with the normal wrench, the open-end wrench, and I have not been able to get it up, like, at all. I've been whacking it with a mallet, but to no avail. So I think I'm gonna have to wrap this up now for tonight, just because it's getting too dark. I can't really see anything anyways, and I don't have the tools I need. So, and I told my wife that we would have a date night tonight, so I gotta go get cleaned up. I hate it when stuff like this happens. I would just finish it up now. Like I said, we've got date night, and not to mention I've already ran to AutoZone to grab other things, and I don't want to go again, so it's just frustrating. I'm figuring it out. Hopefully I'll get all the tools I need ever someday. That would be nice. Okay. Oh boy. Ouch. All right. So we got the wrench last night. 1/2-inch drive, fits back here. So we should be good to go. The new ratchet definitely helped, but it was still hard to get enough leverage to break the bolt loose. I guess it's just one of those things that you just have to keep working at and hope that it gets to the point where it breaks eventually. Not breaks, but breaks loose is what I meant. Oh, we got it, guys. That literally took like 30 minutes. That was the worst. We finally got the old rotor off, but let me just say that was a struggle. We have all 4 brakes, rotors, and pads installed on the Q50. And boy, did that take a lot longer than I was hoping. I'm real excited to have these on and to finally have good brakes on the Q50. It's been pretty much ever since I've had it that they didn't have really good brakes. Now we just gotta bleed the brakes. And for those of you who have not done that, myself included actually, best way to do it, or the right way to do it I should say, is starting with the rear right side. Bleed that one first, bleed that one next, the front right, and last but not least, the left right, or the left front. What I read was because the brake master cylinder and like ABS is right here, and so you want to start from the furthest one first to the next furthest, to the next furthest, and to the closest, and that's the best way to bleed your brakes, I guess. So I'm gonna get Emily out here to help me out, and we'll get to bleeding. Does it still feel weird?
Yeah, different than the others.
So while you're doing this, you're gonna wanna check the brake fluid reservoir to make sure that it's not losing too much brake fluid, because you don't want to lose all your brake fluid, because then you'll have air in the system again and you'll have to start all over. So just keep an eye on that. Perfect. Everything is done. Rotors, pads, and the brakes are bled. So overall, it was a good experience. First time bleeding brakes. I'm just excited to get it all back together and test them out. See how they feel. Dude, I'm excited. Oh, look. Oh, look. The lights are gone. Oil and filter, we'll do that soon. But holy cow, can you believe it? I am so happy that those lights are finally gone. Enough of talking about it. Let's just get this thing driving and see how they feel. So as soon as I put my foot on the brakes, I can tell something's off. There's no brake pressure at all. And so I start pumping them. That didn't do anything. I'm taking the car through the parking lot just to see if it'll kick in somewhere. And it didn't. I make it halfway down the parking lot, realize that there's no change. And so I pull into this parking space very carefully and decide to look around. I can't find anything. There's nothing visible that should make the brakes not work. And so then I thought maybe it's just the fact that they're new brakes, and so they might need to be bedded in before they can actually start feeling, good. So I take the car out very carefully onto the road, braking way early, trying to bed them in, doing everything you're supposed to do to bed them in, and it just wasn't working. So I turn around and I get back on the road, drive as carefully as I can all the way back home, and this is when it starts to really hit me. I just spent all of this time to find out that there's still issues. There's more issues now than there were before. The only thing I can do at this point, though, is drive home, park the car, figure out what's wrong, and fix it once again. Well, the pedal's basically useless until the very end, so I just had to go really slow, brake super early, and then halfway back, I see the chassis control system error. Very annoyed. I think I might just need to bleed the brakes again, but I thought I did a good job last time, so I'm not excited. This is the downside about working on cars. You can do so much work just for the issue to be worse in the end, and then you don't even know what to do to fix it. And so I'm hopeful, though, that whatever it is can be resolved and will be resolved with a little bit of more effort. So, you know what? I'm just gonna have to end this video here. I feel like I keep ending videos without resolving the issue, but that's just the reality of working on cars. Sometimes you can't get it done the first time, and you have to keep trying and keep trying different things, and that's just what's happening this time. But thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys, especially those of you who have subscribed already and who leave comments and like my videos. I'm very appreciative of that, and if you aren't one of those people and you want to support me, that would be amazing too. Please subscribe, like the videos, comment, let me know what I could be doing wrong, because honestly I have no idea. Other than that, thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys in the next one. I'm Hayden, this is Mav Speed, and I will see you later.